Today we're going to talk about what sold over the weekend, the 12 items that sold, and I've got a couple of surprise items over here. But if you're here for the thumbnail, I'm just going to give maybe 3 or 4 minutes of thoughts on the current environment out in the economy. I'm not an economist. I am not an expert. I'm just Brian, who sells stuff out of a storage unit, who, takes in information. And this is how I feel personally. Not suggesting anybody feel the same way that I do or think the same way that I do. This is just me. But there's a lot going on with tariffs, going into place. I was reading some articles over the weekend about Dollar General closing a bunch of stores, which seemed a little odd because you think if people are trying to save money, they're going to be shopping at Dollar General maybe, and they'd be doing great. There's a spin-off brand that they have called Pop Shelf, which if you've never been in one, then it's a pretty cool store. But they're closing like 45 or 50 locations of those, and they've only been around for about maybe 4 or 5 years total. There's lots of other retailers closing stores as well. Starbucks laid off 1,000 employees, and there's just a lot of that stuff going on, which I think can really cause a lot of consternation in the market and kind of get people worried or overly excited. And I kind of sit back and look at it, and I think, maybe there's some correction going on where during COVID, you couldn't sell stuff fast enough. The sales were crazy. Then I was in distribution, and I was selling to independently owned pet stores, and the success was just tremendous. They couldn't sell stuff, buy stuff fast enough. They were selling it so fast. And then eventually you come out of that. So I saw, our business get corrected, and I think a lot of other companies are seeing the same thing. And usually after you see huge sales and you start to see a correction, companies will open new locations to try to bolster sales as total sales, not necessarily looking at, organic sales for existing stores. So there's a couple different ways people will look at that. But the bright spot that I think could happen amidst all of this is success for eBay and other third-party markets, or secondhand markets, I should say, where there's, third-party sellers. So, I know my family, even though we've sold on eBay for 6 years, we would shop at TJ Maxx or Marshall's instead of going to, full retail. We shop there. But more and more, we're shopping straight at the thrift store. And there's really not a good reason we weren't doing that before. But, my wife was looking for some new dresses for work. And, we hit a handful of thrift stores, and she got some really great stuff at just huge savings. So, that's one thing we're paying better attention to in our family. But I think as people are looking for, stuff for around the house, maybe they burnt up their favorite skillet, so they need to buy another one. Maybe they go to eBay and they buy, the high-end piece at a greatly reduced price because they can get it on the secondhand market and they know right where to go to find it. So I just, I don't know. I'm not panicking yet, but yeah, it's just kind of my thoughts. I know there's a lot of people who think sales are way down because of what's going on. I had a good week this past week, item-wise, not necessarily dollar-wise. I sold some lower value items, but yeah. Anyhow, just my thoughts. I was thinking about that and just wanted to spit that out. Nobody asked for my thoughts, so it's probably worth how much people paid for it, which is nothing. But, there that is. So let's get into this past weekend sales. I had 2 surprise items. One that came through at about 7:30 this morning, and one came through, it's about 8:30 right now. One that came through just about 10 minutes ago while I was making some notes. And I'm going to get them shipped out today, so wanted to just include them in the video, even though it's not part of the weekend necessarily. Surprise item number 1 is this Calphalon, and I don't know what size this is. I got the shrink wrap. It's probably a 1.5 quart anodized aluminum saucepan. This is a vintage piece. You can tell by this handle right here. When you see these handles, that's a vintage piece with the lid. So I picked this up for $5.40 at a Goodwill, and I sold it for $14.64 plus shipping. And then the next item, this is a good one. So this is the second piece of this vacuum that I've sold. I'm selling 3 different pieces, but this is an Electrolux Oxygen canister vacuum power hose. So I've got a cost of $10 in this, and I sold that for $44.89 plus shipping. Those aren't too bad to ship. Just put them in a somewhat smallish box and just kind of coil it up. Usually it's at an angle in the box, and I might put a little bit of padding around it, but it really doesn't take any padding. There's nothing to break there, unless the whole box gets crushed, in which case the padding might not even save it, bubble or paper. So yeah, those are the surprise items. Now let's look at the items that sold over the weekend. So I sold 12 items. So more than half the items that I sold for the past week were sold over the weekend. Yeah, but before we get into that, if this is your first time here, my name is Brian. I'm a reseller and content creator here on YouTube. Been selling on eBay for about 6 years. I sell in the everything category, which you'll kind of get a view of whenever I start showcasing these items, the 12 items that sold, and of course, vacuum hoses and pots and pans and stuff. But yeah, so thanks for joining me. So 12 items over the weekend. It was definitely a pot and pan weekend in my mind. This cookware dominated the sales overall. I did run a store sale. I fired it up on Saturday morning, first thing about 6 o'clock in the morning. So Saturday to Sunday at midnight, and ran 20% off. So I've kind of run the gamut. So I started at 15. I've done 20. I've done 30 a couple weeks, and I backed it down to 20% to see what happened, and started getting a decent amount of sales off of it. So I think 20 might be my sweet spot. I don't know that 30, I have to look back, produced that many more sales, but it also has to do with the items that you're selling and what people are looking for at that point in time. So it's not an exact science whenever you're an everything seller. So I'm going to showcase these in the order they were sold. First item that sold was this. This is a vintage Revereware. This is an 8-inch skillet fry pan. This one was a little rough. You can see I've got good pictures on this, but the handle's a little beat up. It's not in awesome shape, but it had a good price on it. So I picked it up for $3.30 at a Goodwill, and at 20% off, I sold it for $12.71 plus shipping on that one. Next are these glasses, clip-on glasses by the brand Shade Control. So these are amber colored. So these are good for driving at night, or if you're like out shooting. Most shooting glasses are these amber colored glasses, but they just clip over your existing glasses. I picked them up. I have 2 pair. I have 1 more in my bin there for 50 cents a piece, and I sold these for $7 plus shipping. Next is a wood plane. I picked this up, the very first video I have on this channel at an estate sale. I picked this plane up at this estate sale, and when I saw it, it was $2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Those planes are worth so much money. And then after I got it home, I was looking it up, and I saw that it said distributed exclusively for Harbor Freight Tools. And I started second guessing it. I've had it listed for, I don't know, 6-7 months. Paid $2 for it, and I think I had it at $14.89 or $12.89. That's about all they would sell for, even though it's a decent piece, but it's just the metal materials, the blade's not that awesome. So I ended up selling it for $10.30 plus shipping on that. Glad to see that one go out the door. Next is this sewing box. It's hard. I don't know if you can see the pattern on this. Oh, there you go. That's a really cool pattern, but nice piece. It's got the tray accessory. Not all of them, when you find them, do they have the trays? And if they do, there's none of the posts are broken off or anything. So it's got all the pieces to it. I picked this up at, I think, a garage sale for $2, and I sold it for $11 plus shipping. Next is this CD case that I did not pull out of the bin, and it's going to take me forever to get it. So it's just a fabric case, like a polyester case, and it has the pouch on the front. It's Case Logic. So it's got the pouch on the front for your little Discman with the cable that comes out for your headphones. It's got a little accessory thing on the front. And then inside, it holds like 24 CDs. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably had one. I had one for my Sony Discman and all my accessories and stuff that went with it. But I picked it up for 50 cents at an estate sale and sold it for $11.91 plus shipping. Next item is another one of these skillets. So I had 2 in inventory and I sold both of them. So this is an 8-inch Revereware skillet. This one's in a little bit better shape. I picked it up for $3.30 and also sold it for $12.71 plus shipping. Next is a scarf. So I picked up a few scarves at an estate sale for $1 a piece. It's a really, I didn't know much about scarves. I just saw that some were selling and thought, what the heck, I'm going to try some for $1. And it's really, really pretty. It's got, I thought there was a tag on it. Or maybe it's printed on there. Some of them had actual tags, and some of them had information printed on the scarf itself, but it has a tag. There it is. So this is a Giorgio, or Giorgio, OU at the end. 100% silk, made in Japan, dry clean only. I was like, well, that's got to be somewhat old if it's 100% silk, made in Japan, and picked it up for $1 and ended up selling it for $8.71 plus shipping on the 20% off sale. I've had this one for probably about 6 months as well. Got a couple, I think I've got 2 more in a bin over here also. Next item is, this is a Healthy Gourmet. This is a food cutter slicer. So this comes, this actually lifts off. So that suctions down to your countertop. That sits on there so you can put it at multiple angles. And then you've got these cones originally that you can, that snap in here, and then you just turn the handle and you cut stuff up in different configurations. It originally came with 5 cones. This one only had 4 with it. I listed it that way. The cones are numbered, so I had 1, 2, 4, and 5. There were other people who had sold it with 4 cones, so I just did a sell similar off that. I had it listed, I think, for $34.89. I ended up selling it on sale. So I paid $8.60 at Goodwill for that. Ended up selling it on sale for $27.91 plus shipping. I've only had it listed for maybe a week. So that sold pretty quick. Next item, this is a very unique item. So this is for distributor points under a distributor cap, which is what used to help like start your car, keep your car going. There's no more distributor caps. Everything's electronic ignition. It's a flexible piece with a little Allen key hex tool at the end specifically for GM pickups. So they had a little window in there. My dad was telling me about it. A little window in there, and you would measure, I don't remember exactly what you're measuring, but you'd measure something with a tool, and then you would adjust it until you got the right measurement so that you had the right like firing, and you didn't have it overfiring or underfiring, so your truck would run well. I actually had pictures of this, and I didn't list it for about 2 months because I was trying to figure out what size this was, and I kept forgetting to take it home and put it against one of my other hex keys, Allen keys. And I was showing it to my dad. He goes, that doesn't matter. He goes, if people are looking for that tool, it's just one size. They're looking for the type of tool. So I found one that is sold in the last 90 days. There were none listed. I listed up this just maybe 4 or 5 days ago, paid $1 for it at an estate sale, sold it for $8.71 plus shipping. Let's see, next item. So this is a 4.5 quart. This is a Revereware stock pot. Real nice, thick copper bottom. It actually most of them are straight. This one kind of bulges out around the bottom here, all the way around. So this is much thicker copper than you typically get today. Has the metal handles, which I thought were unique. They're not, you don't find those as much. I think this is maybe pre-50s. Somebody made a comment about that, but it's a 4.5 quart stock pot. I picked it up at Goodwill for $5.40. I ended up putting it, I forget what I listed it for, probably 22 or 23.89 is what they seem to be going for. It would have been much better if I had a lid, but so I ended up on sale, sold it for $18.31 plus shipping. So we'll get that out the door. 11th item sold was this Magnalite. This is a 9 3/4 inch. This is the heavy aluminum. It's got 2 spouts on it. It's like a skillet, fry pan, saute pan. But I picked this up at a Goodwill about 30 minutes north of me in Edmond for $3.30. Hit it with a little barkeeper's friend because it had a little bit of black on the bottom, a little bit discolored. It cleaned up really, really nice. $3.30 and sold it for $19.91 plus shipping. That was on sale. I think I had that one listed for $24.89. And then the last item is this, where are you? This is a Farberware lid. I think this is a 12-inch Farberware lid. I picked this up. This came with, so I assigned a cost of 50 cents to this. It came with I had a big Magnalite skillet that I sold last week. It was a 12-inch skillet. This was actually on that skillet whenever I bought it. And it didn't go with it. But so I separated the lid, assigned a cost of 50 cents to it, and I actually took an offer on this one. So this sold on Friday. I took an offer on this one for $8 plus shipping. It's such a, I don't even remember if I saw any other comps. I think I might have created a listing for this one, but wanted to get it out the door, and for $8 I'll take it. I don't want it sitting around forever and ever. So that's it for the weekend sales. Pretty low value overall. Didn't have any massive successes this weekend dollar-wise. Did really well with cookware, which is nice because I've got a lot more listed up. I ended up with some of the stuff that I bought, I ended up taking apart or taking some of the singles that I had off the shelf and making some combo deals. I did like 3 saucepans in a set. I did a stock pot and a big skillet in a set because the lid fit both. And just did a couple of things like that to try to increase the value of what I'm selling. And, instead of shipping a $20 item and a $20 item, can I ship a $39.89 item? So a $40 item. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I've got a great outlook over the week. Started off, with 2 sales right out the gate this morning. So I can't complain about that. And, yeah, just looking forward to the week. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below. Happy to answer those and get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, until next time, have a great day.